Well, hello, my friends. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I'm bringing you my first knit along, and I am so excited to have you join me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So many great comments. So many people says, Jay, count me in. Well, I'm counting myself in too because I'm excited to share what I found after, so many had asked, Jay, do a top down. Do a top down. And I said, well, okay. And of course, the first thing I wanted to do was search out some different sites or blogs, trying to, make sure my information that, what I had in my mind or, how I thought I would do it, was good information. I only want to bring you good information. I'm not an expert knitter or anything, but I definitely don't want to just share bad information. But at the end of the day, there was just so many that it just didn't give me enough information the way I think. And a lot of them did a lot of baby sweaters and just simply said, okay, if you do this baby sweater, just do it into an adult size. Well, that didn't always pan out. And so I decided to go and just work with some numbers, math, and see if I could come up with it. And now I want to come and share it with you. All right, I want to get right into it. You will, some extra things you might need. You might need a little notepad to write down, some notes, a spiral notebook or a little notepad or some paper. I'm going to give an information sheet with basic information, but as I go along, I'll say, okay, write this down or write that down, so you'll have a place. If you write it down in your own handwriting, and as you might think how you're writing it down, you can remember or understand it better, especially little things that I'm going to tell you as we go along. All right, the first thing on this video is well, Jay, how do I find my size? How do I find my size? And then once we do that, then we will cast on. I'll show you how to calculate your formula, and then we will cast on. So let's see how much we can get done. Like I said, I really want to stick to this as a knit along, and, so that we can all just work together and be in the same place and have good results, of course. First of all, when I started working on my formulas, two numbers popped out at me that are, you really need these two numbers to make this style sweater. The first number is this increase number. Now this is Top Down Cardigan 101. This is a simple yarn over. This is just one really simple, and every one of these little holes represents an increase or yarn over. However many yarn overs you need, we're going to find that. We're going to, find out how many you will need and then what to do with that number. The next number that I found that's really most important to do this sweater, of course, is not this number at the top so much, but the number at the bottom from, say, under the arm or from the side. I hope this is on camera now. I can't see. But from your side, under your arm, across to the front edge. This number, how many stitches does it take to go and fill in that space? So this is what we're going to start out, and I'm going to show you how to find those numbers to fit you. The increase number and how many stitches it takes to fill in from your side, or the left, both sides, of course, but from under your arm or across to the front edge of your sweater. And I think that was all that I wanted to say on this before we go to the next section. Okay, let me clear this off. We're going to the next area, and you will need a measuring tape and, of course, your little notepad, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we go. Are you saying, Jay, are you going to take a nap? No. No. But I had to think of a way, how can I demonstrate how we're going to measure and, find out our stitch count. And so this is our body. And look, I even taped a button right there. That represents our belly button right there. So here we go. Now, when I first came on, I was new, and I went through my whole series of, in just about every video, I try to go back and tell you how I started counting stitches. By the book, if we were knitting strictly by the book, then the book, we would knit a swatch of fabric with the right yarn and the same needle that we're using for our sweater. We're using number 9. And then you would take a gauge tape or a gauge ruler or just a plain ruler and lay it down. And you want to know how many stitches do I get to an inch. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I normally get 4, stitches to the inch. Now, so now you want to take your measuring, how many inches, and now I can do it, I believe, a clearer, quicker, and like a shortcut. I don't need to do the long tape unless I'm just really, working on something that I need to count every stitch. The shortcut method now that I'm going to use and share with you is all I need, or you need, is to have the measurement from one side of your body, and I use the front side because I can easily hold the tape, to the center of your belly button. That's all we need. And the numbers will just tumble themselves. So for instance, on this pillow body, I'm going to put my measuring tape from my waist to my belly button, and I have 9 inches. Okay, so how many stitches will fill up this 9 inches on this body right here? And as you've seen, I had 4 stitches to the inch. I have 9 inches, so 4 times 9 is 36. So according to the swatch that I just walked out with my little gauge and my measuring tape, I should be able to get 36 stitches in this space as one side of my front. Does that make sense? This is your body now. All right, but now what I was trying to show you with the tape and counting your stitches, I take, say, a pin and I mark it, and this is Savannah, and I've knitted on a number 9, and I can take this tape, these stitches, I can start right here with my belly button, you see it right there, and I can give just a nice, after all, we're going to wear this sweater on top of clothes, and so you want a nice fit. So I do want to hold it, and I don't force it and over pull it, but I do make it fit. Now I'm going to count. Remember on the swatch we had 36, so let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Okay, so I had 30, and then I might move it around, maybe move the tape around just to make sure that, it was in a good place. Go over a little bit, and I'll count again, and then I'll count up and say this, let's just go and count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. I still get about 30. So I'm going to say that on my gauge I had 36 stitches. On the tape, when I actually counted the stitches to fill in the space, I came up with less stitches. And that's what I found once I started counting my stitches. But remember, the next thing to do, as soon as I get that number, I write it on my pad, but I need to round it up to the next number divisible by 4. So instead of 30, I have to go up to, 32. I'm still under the gauge, even by rounding off. Rounding off helps my numbers to be compatible, but it also gives me knitting ease in this sweater. You'll see that it won't, that you'll have positive ease already built in. So now, let's talk. If I have 32, I've rounded my number off on my body. I know my front is now 32. It's going to tell you a whole lot. 32 on this side. Well, you know I'd have to have 32 automatically on this side. I don't have to count again. I've already rounded it off. That gives me positive ease. So I have 32, 32. Okay. Then if I have 32, 32 for the front, all right, then I know that I'm going to have, what's that, 64? I know that across the whole back of this body is going to be 64. And we need to write those numbers down because we will do a schematic when we get ready to do our working formula. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, the next thing is to find out how many. Okay, we've talked about our increases. And our increases, like I said, I take this measuring tape, and I probably could show it better on the sweater. Let me just move our pillow body for our sweater, for the real sweater. And I'm going to lay it here. Make sure I'm still on camera. Okay, good. All right, now watch. We're not talking about the ribbing. The ribbing, we're talking about right in the crease of your neck, right where your neck, right at the top of your neck and shoulder where they meet, where they join. And you want to take this and you want to bring it down at an angle, not right into your armpit. You want to be about an inch or maybe an inch and a half under the armpit on your body. Now this is your body. I'm using the sweater now as my body. And right where my neck and my shoulder come together, and I can feel that little indent, when you move your neck. Okay, I put the tape there. That's where the increases will start. And I come down at an angle, and I don't put the tape into my armpit. I go down about an inch and a half below my armpit, because this is a cardigan, a sweater that will be worn on top of things. You have to have room for your arm to pivot and to move. On other sweaters, we might not need to go down as far, but this one, so on my measurement, it seems like a lot, but I'm going to say mine is 13 inches down. Now, how does that help me? Okay, if you look right here, 2 of these yarn overs represent 1 inch. Okay, if I have 13 inches multiplied times 2, because it takes 2 of these yarn overs to make an inch, so 2 times 13, or if you have, maybe you're a small person, you'll see in the formula, for small, you probably don't need but 11. You don't need as much room as my size. Or if you are a medium, you probably won't need but 12 inches. So 2 times however many inches minus 13, 2 times 13, that means I need 26 increases. I need to increase, starting with the number I'm going to show you that I get at the neck, 26 times to get it up to the number that I just reached, for my bottom number. My bottom number, I hadn't shown you the formula, but my bottom number is 44. I need to increase 26 times to get to this part of the sweater, and my number is 44. So now I'll show you how this works. You will need, write down every number. Any number, write it down. Just put a mark on it and write it down. Because now we want to create a schematic. And put these numbers down so that we won't forget. Now, I'm using myself as an example, but eventually I will go over the numbers that I came up, or suggested numbers, for your size, or a size that you need to try to see where you fall or can fit. All right, on this one, I am definitely doing, I'm not holding back now. I'm actually going with the extra large. That's me on this one. Okay, So, on my front, when I measured, my number is 44. 44 stitches. That's what I need. When I get to the end of my sweater, I need to have at least 44 stitches for each front. So I'm going to put, now let me see if my camera, if I need to come down on the, yes I do, on this. I'm going to come in a little bit. There we go. See if I can just kind of readjust here. Hold on. See if I can adjust. I think that's a lot better. I forgot that I had that sweater. Okay, so for my size, and I'm going to, I'll go over everything. I know that by me counting, just like I showed you, and rounding off to the nearest number divisible by 4, I need 44 stitches for my front. Okay, that means for the back, automatically, if I turn over here, 44 and 44, I know I'm at 88 stitches for my back. All right, now, the one number that I had to kind of guesstimate a little bit was the sleeve. I know my sleeves on this sweater, when I counted it out, I held my tape and I counted out so many stitches. My best number is 60 stitches. That's the number that I need to get to. 60 stitches for that sleeve and 60 stitches for this sleeve. Does that make sense? This is a little schematic. You're going to just make up yourself. I just used something to trace a circle, and then I separated it into the two fronts, left and right front, my two sleeves, and of course the back. You're going to fill in your numbers once I show you the size chart that I've come up with, and see if that's once you take some measurements and see if you can fit into that, one of the slots. All right, I'll be right back, and we're going to talk about the chart. Okay, so now I've had we've made a little, or hopefully you've made a little schematic, because it will help you to kind of keep things, so that you can understand where you are. The numbers on the schematic that I just put in are the numbers we need to get up to. But how do we find the numbers of where we need to start? Okay, I need smaller numbers to work up to my larger numbers. And this is how the formula will work. Okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. All right, my numbers for my sweater. I've counted, and you'll see it on I'll take this bracelet off, on the information sheet and the size sheet when I put up. But my fronts are 44. That's what I need for each front, 44 stitches. This is all the stitches that you need. And I'm giving everybody the sleeve because I had to work the math. But my sleeve is 60 stitches, and my back, 44 and 44, makes it 88. I add my two fronts. Okay, you say, okay, well, Jay, now what do I do next? I hope this is up close enough. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit more. Okay, now, remember I said, if you've worked with me before, once you have some numbers, the best thing to do is just start subtracting. Okay, I already just went over about the increases and how to measure. My increase number, I'm going to put up here, I'm going to put right here, INC. My increase number is 26. That's my increase number. I know that I have to do at least 26 increases. 2 times 13, my length was 13 inches. And I take 2 times 13 because I've already gone over that part. All right. So why don't I just simply subtract 13 increases from this number right here. I know these numbers now because I've counted and rounded everything up to a number divisible by 4, and I'm happy with that. I figured out how many increases by doing just like I showed you just before, so I won't keep repeating things. All right, so why don't we just start subtracting? All right, I'm going to take we'll just do one front. And the reason I have to remind you of this. On this, let me get my schematic again. On our schematic, the increases on the front, there's only one increase on each front. You notice that, just one increase over here. But on your sleeves, there are 2 increases. There's one on this side and one on this side. Okay, one on this side and one on this side. On the back, you have the same thing. You have 2 increases. The front, you only increase on one side of each front. Does that make sense? On the sweater. Okay, so now, this is how it will work. So I'm going to take a minus 26 from one of my fronts. We'll just work with one because the other one will be the same. But when I get ready to take 26 from my sleeve, I have to double it because the sleeve has 2 increases on each side, just like I just showed you in the schematic. So 26 and 26, these are my numbers now. 26 and 26 is 52. So I have to take 52 from my sleeve. And then the back also has 2 increases on each side. So I have to take 52 from that. Now I hope I was on camera. I'm trying to write crooked. Okay, let's see if I need to pull it over. Hold on a minute. I think I need to shuffle. There you go. I need to shuffle my camera. All right. Does that make sense so far? I know my increases for my size is 26, and it'll be on the sheet once we put it up the information sheet. But on the sleeve, there are 2 increases on each side, so I have to double 26 to 52. I take away 52. On the back, the same thing. There's 2 increases, so I have to take away. So here are my numbers. Here's the magic. If you want to call it magic, this is the part that I call magic once I understood what I was doing. I'm trying to write all crooked. Okay, so here's for my size now. I'll do some others. Okay, 26 from 44 is 18. Okay. All right. So then from 52 from 60, it's going to leave me 8 stitches. Okay. Now, 52 from 88 will leave me 36 stitches. Does that make sense? Now, this is how I'm going to figure out how many stitches to cast on. These are the numbers I need to get to, but I have to start lower. I have to start 26 increases less to get back up to these numbers here. Is that confusing? I hope not. I'm so excited. Okay, this is how you do it then. You simply come here. Now I'm going to add. I'm going to add this number and this number. But remember, okay, the easiest way to do it, now this I will get my calculator just so that you'll see. I don't know if it's on camera, but I'm over here calculating. Okay, over here, 18, I have 2 fronts. So the front should match the back. So 18 and 18, right and left front. So I'm going to add 36 plus, add the back, go over here and add the back. They should be equal. 36, 18 and 18 is 36. So I add this 36 and this 36 plus 36 equals 72. Then I go back and pick up my sleeve number. And how many sleeves do we have? We have 2. So I got to add 2 sleeves, so 8 and 8 are 16. So my number was 72 plus 8 and 8 is 16 equals 88. My cast on number for my size is 88 stitches. Not adding this number across the top. This is where I need to go. If I cast on 88 stitches and add back 26 increases, I will come up to these numbers again. And that's where I want to go. These are the numbers that fit me at the end of the sweater. That's where I want to be. In order to figure it out, I had to subtract the number of increases from these numbers to tell me where to start. 18. So now let me get my schematic out back. All right, let's turn. All right, now. So right here on the schematic, I'm going to, let's see how can I get this on camera. All right. Okay. On the front, I have 18. So right above 44, right over here, I'm going to put 18. That's how many I need to cast on for that front, and 18 for that front. Okay, on the sleeve, I need to cast on, I just subtracted, I'm going to cast on 8 stitches. So that means 8 stitches over here. See, that's simple. Now, the back, I need to cast on 36. So I'll put 36. So now I have the numbers I need to cast on for each part of the schematic, each part of my sweater. And if I would add back 26 increases for my size, extra large, I'm going to increase 26 times. I'm going to make 26 increases. And that will bring me back, like I said, to the number that I need to be at the end of the sweater. Oh my gosh, I hope I got that. I hope I made it clear. Does that make sense? I didn't really want to get into a lot of math with you, but I wanted you to see that this was me doing the work, step by step, figuring out the formula, just by asking a simple question. Jay, how many stitches does it take to go from from one side to my belly button? And once I know that number, then I can go figure out the back. I'm giving you the number for the sleeves because I had to just do the math for that. But I'm giving everybody the number for the sleeves. Then I'll show you how to actually write down your formula. How I give it to you, but I want you to know something, how I got it. These are the numbers where I need to go. If I subtract, not add, subtract the increases, I'm doing 26. This gives me the numbers. I add them across. I have 2 fronts. I have 2 sleeves. I have 1 back. It gives me a cast on of 88 stitches.